NBA All-Star balloting has finally opened, people, and there are going to be a lot of snubs, obviously, but there are going to be some guys deserving of these spots. Keep in mind that front court positions are lumped together now, so there are 4 backcourt spots, 6 front court spots, and 2 reserve spots. Starting backcourt for the East, Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors. First and foremost, Lowry has the Drake vote. The Canadian rapper, with some help from Canadian pop star Justin Bieber, pushed the Raptors point guard to an all-star starting spot last season in a late surge. Expect that to be amplified with the game actually being played in Toronto this year. But Lowry absolutely deserves the spot. He has been the East's best guard and the best player on a very good team through the first month. Last season, his play dipped dramatically at around the same spot he was named a starter in the Eastern Conference. Let's hope his weight loss will help him sustain his stellar play for a full season this year. Jimmy Butler of the Chicago Bulls. Last season, Butler received lukewarm support from fans for his starting nod. That was for 2 reasons. Number 1, he probably didn't deserve the spot. And number 2, he was breaking out and no one quite sure knew what to do with that. Now the Bulls guard is a bona fide star and clearly at worst the second best guard in the Eastern Conference through 1 month of play. Chicago has more than enough fans to get him this deserved spot, but those fans are not always the most consistent voters, and he still has a few teammates, Derrick Rose, Pau Gasol, and perhaps Joakim Noah, whose fame overshadows his. This was a tough pick, especially with Dwayne Wade and John Wall having been voted starters in years past. Moving on to the starting front court, you got LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But this one kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? The only question is whether they remember to make short shorts for the All-Star jerseys. Joining LeBron in the starting front court is Melo of the New York Knicks. Carmelo has started the past 6 All-Star games, but unlike this last season, he clearly earned it this time. The Knicks have the look of a playoff team, and Carmelo has pulled back ever so slightly on his offensive output to benefit a more talented roster. He still is one of the best scorers in the NBA, though, and his defense has dramatically improved from his past 2 seasons. There is some good competition at the forward spots, though. Paul George, Jimmy Butler, for example. So Anthony may not get voted in by the fans, but the New York market should hold him up unless one of his teammates steals his thunder. Hint, hint. And joining them both in the starting front court is Kristaps Porzingis of the New York Knicks. The fans are probably going to vote him in, but, I think he's well deserving of it. The hype kind of, joined together with him in that. And I kind of like it because of it. I would want to see Melo and Porzingis start in the starting front court. I think it's going to be fun for them. In the bench backcourt, you got Kemba Walker of the Charlotte Hornets. The question is, how many coaches will notice Walker's career best season? And the answer may be plenty. Kemba Walker works hard and is an aggressive defender and quick scorer, the exact kind of player opposing coaches need to focus on in a game planning. So expect him to get his recognition. He deserves it too. Walker is shooting 46.3% from the field and 39.7% on three-pointers this season after years of being deservedly ripped by for shooting numbers. Hornets coach Steve Clifford says Walker is an elite defender, which is a bit hard to prove. But he certainly is no slouch on that end. Charlotte has started the season strong, and Walker has been their best player. Joining him in the bench backcourt is Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. But Isaiah Thomas is a complicated case, possibly an illumination of the issues with All-Star voting. Let's start why he is here. His offensive numbers are terrific, and he has been the lead scorer for his team. And he's a guard in the Eastern Conference, where there are so few other strong candidates. All of that makes sense. But has he been the 4th best guard in the East? That much is unclear. Isaiah Thomas is a bad defender, though, equal parts, a product of his size and his intensity on that end. The Celtics are a better team with Marcus Smart, who has faced injuries so far because of his defensive ability, and they must cover up for Isaiah Thomas's lapses. The All-Star game isn't about defense, though, and Thomas is as worthy as any other candidate. The bench front court now. Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. Paul George has been the Eastern Conference MVP through a month so far, yet he could finish outside the top 5 in front court voting. That largely can be attributed to playing in Indiana, but also comes because Paul George does not have the hype machine behind him that other stars do. There's no question that he deserves it, and maybe this very post will spur his fans into action. Either way, there really is no question he will make the All-Star team this year. A welcome return for a player who missed most of last season with a broken leg. Joining him in the bench front court, Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons. Rule of thumb, A guy who's averaging 18 points and 17 boards a game gets to be in the All-Star game regardless. This shouldn't even be a question, and the Pistons only have helped the case by being a legitimate playoff contender. Andre Drummond's fast start ensured people would take notice of his production, and he has continued it. He does not have the same lengthy track record of some players he will beat out, but that will not matter in this case. He is well deserving of an All-Star spot. Joining him in the front court, Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kevin Love did not make the All-Star team last year, nor did he deserve to make the team last year. He seemed disengaged and often unhappy with his role then, but his second year in Cleveland, plus an injury to Kyrie Irving, has changed Love's tune and tone. The former Timberwolves star is not back to his 26 and 13 days, but he is putting up around 20 and 12 boards a game for the best team in the Eastern Conference. He has a very good chance of being voted as a starter if he could hitch his ride and teammate with LeBron, but he should not have no problem making the team either way. A wild card for this team is Paul Millsap of the Hawks. There was a good debate last season about who the Hawks' best player was. Al Horford did a bit of everything and seemed like the glue for the team on both ends, while Jeff Teague's dribble penetration keyed everything the NBA's best offense played off of with his shooting. Then there was Paul Millsap, a relentlessly competent power forward who continued enhancing his game year after year. Those enhancements have made it clear that Paul Millsap is the Hawks' best player this season, and he could be the only Atlanta All-Star after being joined by 3 teammates and his coach last year. He's been even more assertive on offense and on the boards, and he rates among the best players in the conference. Another wild card, Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat. This spot is up for grabs, but we are tentatively giving it to Bosh because he definitely has the respect of the coaches who will get to decide it. He may be beating out his own teammates, Heat center Hassan Whiteside, and guard Dwayne Wade. But Bosh is also having one heck of a season. He's leading the Heat in the scoring and posting his best rebounding numbers since he arrived in Miami 6 years ago, all while shooting three-pointers at a career-high rate. This would be Bosh's 11th consecutive All-Star appearance, and he has definitely earned it.